Hello and welcome back to another video. In this one I will be prepping for a Valentine market that's coming up. So the first half of this video will be more vloggy, where you can see my process of how I create my products and getting ready. And at the end I will have some tips and tricks for you if you yourself are getting ready to start your art market journey, or if you have been doing this a while and you kind of just want to hear my experience from this one specific market. Ruby, come! Ruby! I usually start heavy prepping for a market 1 week before the event, but of course designing products can happen even a month before that, considering manufacturing and shipping time. I print most of my stuff at home, such as stickers and prints, so thankfully I don't have to stress over something not arriving in terms of that kind of product. However, I do order other things such as keychains and notepads, so those I do have to consider prepping for way ahead of time. So let's talk a little bit about the event and what my thought process was behind the products I picked for this one specifically. It's a Valentine's Day market, which was actually after Valentine's Day. I will talk about this more later. So I knew I wanted to bring some cutesy coupley art, art that people can go like, oh babe, that's us in a different universe kind of vibes. I always like to make a list so I can brainstorm which artwork I would like to pick and see if I might need to make something new, because I do like to change up my merch every once in a while just so people don't see the same thing every single time they see me, especially because this is a market that I tend to go to pretty often. So I want to make sure that I have something new for my customers every single time they see me. For prints, I use my Canon Pixma TS9120, and for papers, I like to use Canon's Luster photo paper, which has like a nice texture and it is also very thick, so I think it's the perfect for art prints. I really do like this one, and I think the pigments really come through with this type of paper, which is very important to me because I want it to look as bright and colorful as possible and for it to look like how it looks like on the screen. Once I was done with the prints, I also made these mystery sets that have leftover prints in them, and these are kind of stuff that didn't print right, or my cutting was off, or there's little patches on there, and I like to make kind of like themes for them so people at least have an idea of what they're going to get inside these mystery packs. So some of the themes that I did was fan art, witchy, so it was kind of like spooky, and then I also had a mushroom one where I just have everything themed around mushroom. Other products that I've been bringing with me are keychains, notepads, and washi tapes. And a little while ago, the amazing company Vograce reached out to me to review some of their products. And not gonna lie, I had a little bit of a fangirling moment because Vograce has been a company that I've been using for years now. They are actually one of the first manufacturers that I have used when I first started doing conventions, so I was more than overjoyed to work with them. Vograce has its own website, which is very easy to navigate, and you can smoothly browse all of the merch that they provide. They have a huge variety of products you can choose from, and also offer a VIP program where you can save each month on specific items and can get free sample packs. They also have a low minimum quantity, so even if you only want to order a couple of items or try them out first, you don't have to overspend because you have to buy hundreds of the item when you order. The ordering for these products was extremely smooth and they help you every step of the way. I was super excited because I was able to order some new things that I have never gotten from them before, such as magnets, notepads, and stickers. And everything came out absolutely amazing, especially the glitter keychain. I am so obsessed with that one. Thank you so much to Vograce for providing me with such exceptional products and perfect timing for this upcoming market. If you want to order your own custom merchandise, check out Vograce in the description. I did want to make a brand new illustration for this market that was like super on theme. So I sketched out a couple of ideas and I ended up landing on this little devil guy. I did like the cowboy as well, which I might do for another time. I just thought the expression on the devil turned out perfect and the pose looked exactly how I wanted it to. I brought the sketch into Procreate and I painted it with my usual style, even though it probably would have been quicker if I just did line art, but I digress. Initially, this was only supposed to be a sticker, but because I was cutting short on time, I did turn it into a print as well, which I'm glad I did because it ended up catching people's eyes at the market. And I also had like an Instagram post to publish on Valentine's Day. I do think the painterly style ended up working out better because it worked out better for the print and the post. So after I'm done with my illustration, it's time to turn it into stickers. So I use the Cricut Explore to cut my stickers and I print them myself. So the first step is to print your design on these sticker sheets, and I like to put some sort of like protective sheet on top, and they have these really fun ones that have like holographic glitter on them, little prisms. So I'm actually using one of these glitter holographic ones. You kind of just measure out like the surface area of where you need the holographic sheet to go on, then you put it on there. With the Cricut, you have to be like really careful because there's this border, and if you put it super close to this border, it's just not going to cut. And with the Cricut too, you have to make sure that you cut it multiple times or else it's not going to cut through. So it's a bit of a process, but it's better than cutting it with your hands, and it's a lot cleaner and you can get like a really crisp lines around your design. So I really like it. These make it like super durable and weatherproof and just overall very cute. LOL. Also, please ignore my cutting board. It has been tearing off my sticker sheets every single time I try to peel it off, which I think at the very beginning this is like a problem because the adhesive is so sticky. Here's me peeling off the stickers off of the board, and here is the final sticker. I am super happy with it, and I just really like how small it is, and it turned out exactly how I wanted it to. And this ended up being the last bit for the prep, and I was ready to pack. So I pack all of my stuff in 2 big bins that have lids so nothing falls out and nothing gets wet if it rains. I actually have a smaller box in one of the big boxes to separate things even better. And I just want to say, the more you organize, when you pack, the smoother your process will be when you're setting up for a market. So have everything in separate little bags, have everything have its own little place in your bins. So even when you're there, you can use your bins as like holders, or you can like grab things out of your bins. And we finally made it to the market. It rained the entire time we were setting up, which was not ideal considering we had to put up a giant tent. They also moved me from my original spot because that spot flooded. It worked out okay though, and I was pretty satisfied with where they placed me on the map in the end. For setting up, I didn't really film the tent part because it's not super interesting. Also, I didn't want my camera to get wet, but here's the footage of how I set up the table itself. The main display items I have are these Amazon basic grids, which are awesome to put prints and apparel on. I actually changed up the layout a little bit this time because I wanted to test out how it would look if I created boxes out of the grids for the bottom part, and I ended up really loving it. I was able to prop up my sticker board super easy, and my magnets were very visible too, which is something I tend to worry about, is that things get lost on my table because I have so many items. But I think this layout worked out the best so far, and I felt like people were able to see everything. They were able to like pick some stuff up, so I definitely think I'm gonna stick to this layout. And another fun new thing I added were these clips that I put my price sheets on. I didn't have time to laminate them, so they smudged by the end of the event, but I will make sure that they are weatherproof for next time. I also might change the design on them. I don't know yet. I like the cloud ones, but I might gonna make like different characters, so maybe I'll have like a mushroom one or a goose or something.
Better? Yeah, better.
Overall, I think my display is looking really good and slowly getting to where I want it to be. It's not perfect. I still want to get some other things for it, but I think this is the layout that I'm most satisfied with so far. It honestly is such a long process to get it to look right and making sure it's functional, but once you're satisfied with it, it's totally worth getting all of these decorations and display pieces. Oh, also thank you to all of my friends and fellow artists for coming by and getting my art. It was so nice to see everyone. There were also some returning customers, which is so cool to see at this market where I go pretty often. Overall, I just really appreciate everyone's support for coming out even though it was raining and it was super cold. Hello, so it's a couple of weeks after the event and I thought I would talk about my thoughts on this specific market as well as give you a couple of tips and tricks on what you can do if you're just about to start up your art market experience, and if you have been doing this for a while now, if maybe I can give you a couple of tips on how to improve and make your art market experience a little bit smoother. So first I want to talk about how I found this market, or just in general what I do to look for markets. My very first thing that I do is I look on Google, and I think the most important is that you try to type in makers market or vintage markets even. I would even say art market sometimes gives you the results of art festivals where people just sell their original paintings and it's very exclusive. So it's not really these maker markets where small businesses sell clay and stationery and stuff like that. So I would definitely suggest trying to look for markets that are not those prestigious art festival markets. And sometimes you really have to look deep into your searches because they're hard to find. They're not super easy to find. So that's one thing you can do is Google search it. And then another thing you can do is if you know artists in your area. So if you follow artists who live in the same city as you, I would go on their Instagram and go on their following and just type in market and see if they follow any markets or they have attended any markets. So you can kind of scroll down if they're ever posted their display, or if they follow certain markets. You can also find them that way. So I actually found a bunch of markets through this because I became friends with some artists at the markets that I usually attend, and then I looked on their profile and kind of searched through their following and saw that they attend a bunch of really cool other markets in the area. So that's a really easy way to find them as well. So that's usually how I look for markets. And also make sure that if you do end up going to these markets, you make friends. So talk to other artists, kind of walk around the art market and get to know people. So that way, you can also see where they are going to be going next. You can even start up a conversation saying that hey, I'm thinking about getting started and doing this more frequently. How to do it and where do you guys usually go? So that's also a great conversation starter. So, and that way you can find more markets as well. So I would highly recommend finding markets that are popular. So if the market has a great social media following, definitely apply for that. 2, if it's in an area that is pretty popular or people can just stumble upon this market, it's also a very good place to go sell your art at because there's gonna be foot traffic. And 3, it's some way, shape, or form close to you so you don't have to travel a lot. So especially if you're starting out, you want to spend the least amount of money on traveling. You don't want to travel 3 hours for a market that costs you a lot of money because it's gas and it's also tiring because you're driving. You want to find something close to you, especially when you're starting out. Let's go into talking about specifically this market. So this is a market that is pretty popular in Orlando. I attend this. I think they have markets 4 times a year, so it doesn't happen very frequently, and it's becoming larger and larger. Like their attendance is growing, their vendors are growing. I think this past 2 times I have been, they had like 250 vendors, which is like hitting close to how much like a convention is. So it is a pretty big and popular market, and this is why I keep going back to it, because I think the people who run it are incredible, and they take a lot of time to make it very enjoyable for both the attendees and the vendors. And also they advertise great. Like you can send your images to them and they will post it for you, so people who follow their Instagram account can see what you're going to be selling. So it is, I really enjoy this market, and I really like going to this market, and I keep applying for this market over and over again because it's really enjoyable. This one specific time is a little bit interesting because this market was supposed to happen on February 2nd, so to have it before Valentine's Day. So if you wanted to buy a gift for your Valentine, you could do it pretty early on, and that's usually how they do their markets. They wanted to have that on the first weekend of February. However, a big convention in Orlando was also happening that weekend. So they could not host it that weekend because they didn't want it to have a competition. So they ended up transferring this date to February 18th, like a couple of days after Valentine's Day. Yeah, 4 days after Valentine's Day. So that was the first little like mishap that like, okay, we're gonna have this event 2 weekends after this big convention, so people already spend a lot of money, and then we're also going to have this after Valentine's Day, so people already bought gifts for each other for Valentine's Day, so there's probably not going to be like a lot of people showing up because they might not want to spend money, or they just already bought gifts and they don't want to buy gifts again, or they don't want to spend more money that week when they already probably bought like an expensive dinner for Valentine's Day. So that way, it was just unfortunate, and I do not blame the people who were organizing it. Like it really was just this convention just came up like at the worst time. That was the first little mishap that I was like a little bit concerned about. And then the second thing that happened was it rained like all day. It rained all day. And it was also incredibly cold. So I live in Florida, and it usually gets colder around like January and February, but like it doesn't get like super cold. And it doesn't rain when it's cold either. So this was really just like the most unfortunate like weather to have on like a market day. We not only had to set up in the rain, but also we were freezing because it was incredibly cold. And yeah, so it was just not pleasant in terms of like the weather. However, the funny thing about this whole thing that I just talked about, how like the event was postponed and then the weather was awful, but miraculously people still showed up. People still endured the cold and the rain, and they dressed up and they, wore their raincoats and came out and see us, and that was honestly incredible. And I really am like so amazed by the fan base and the loyalty of this market. Like this really just shows that no matter what the weather is, no matter if it was postponed, no matter if it was after Valentine's Day, people still show up. I'm just amazed by how well this market is advertised and how much people love this market. Like people just love to come out and shop at this market and just see artists, and I really do appreciate that, and I think they really were troopers for coming out. Thinking about a little bit about the process of getting there and setting up, and also I want to talk about kind of like the email process of like me applying and me getting there. So the application process usually goes where you have to give your email address, your name, your you have to show your Instagram or your website, which usually should show your product. So when you apply for markets, make sure that you have the products that you're selling up front. So if you're selling art, you need to make sure that you have it on there, and make sure that you show like what you're selling your art on. Like if you're selling stickers, or if you're selling prints, or if you're selling something completely different, like if you're selling ceramics, make sure that you show that. And you also have to pick like what size of a space you want. The space I usually get is a 10 by 10 tent space. I actually just bought my first tent for this market because I have been borrowing it from my mom. Also, side note, if you can get free like tables or tents from somebody, make sure you utilize it until you actually do need one, because they are so expensive. Tables are like $50+, tents are like at least $100. So if you have someone or you know someone who has tables and tents, like make sure that you ask them before you purchase one. But yeah, so these are the types of information you have to give them when you're signing up. And then they will send you an acceptance email where you have to pay the fee for the tent space. So every market is going to be different about how they're going to let you know how to get there, what to do the day when you're setting up. But for this specific market, you get the information a couple of days before the event. So I think they usually send it out on Fridays. Be prepared to maybe not get any response after your acceptance, after your payment from these markets, like only just a couple of days before the event. So make sure you check your emails so you get that information of like setting up. And for setting up for the market, they tell you what time to be there, and then you can sometimes pull in your car into the parking lot to set up. I have never done that before, and I'm never going to do it because it makes me so anxious. Personally, I don't have a lot of stuff, so I never had to like pull my car in. But if you do need it, you can do that, or you can park a little bit closer to where you're supposed to be setting up and you can later move your car. I would highly suggest getting one of those beach carts to transport your boxes or transport anything that you need for setting up, like transporting even like your tent or weights and stuff like that. It just makes it a lot easier, and you kind of only have to do maybe 1 or 2 trips when it comes to getting your stuff. Once you get there, once you put your stuff down, you can start setting up. And you have seen my setting up process other than the tent, which I would say, like, if you're the only person there, like you don't have a helper with you, I would definitely ask a person there to help you set up, because it is hard to open a tent by yourself. I would even say like 2 people. It's hard with 2 people to set up the tent. I had a helper with me, and I still had to ask someone else to help us pull the tent out, because tents are just not easy to open. I don't know why, but yeah. I want to talk about how much I paid for this market and what I had to purchase, and overall how much I spent on this specific market. So some of the stuff that I bought for this market are some things that you might get the first time that you start doing art markets. I've just been waiting, again, because of my mom letting me borrow some things. So the price for the tent spot at this market was $125, which I do think it is on the higher end of art market price for a table. So I paid $125, and then I had to buy a tent, which was around like $130. I bought some clips for my price displays, which I have been wanting to do for a while now. And I also had to buy some miscellaneous stuff such as for printing and packaging, so like plastic bags and glycine bags. So that was also something that I had to buy. I think in total I spent $300, including the tent spots. So it was a decent amount of money that I spent on this one. I usually don't spend this much because the tent you kind of only buy once and then you can just keep using it forever. So this is only because you have to buy those necessities at the beginning, and then those, you're not gonna have to spend that over and over again every single time you go to an art market. That's just a one time. I did make around, I want to say like $500 in card payments and another $150 in cash payments. So I think I made around like $600. So a pretty decent amount of money, and I think the profit overall, I was pretty happy with it. The way that I made the money back and on top of it profit was really great. Let's talk about how I took money. So there's a bunch of different ways you can take money. I would suggest doing all of them. So one way for you to take money is through card payments, and you can do that through a Square reader, which Square actually offers a free little Square reader for you if you sign up on their website. So you can just get a free little reader that you can attach to your phone, and you can take card payments by swiping. This is great because you get it for free and you can take card payments. I personally have this reader as well as their tap one. So I'm going to attach a picture of how it looks like. So it's this like little device that can take Apple Pay, and just like people can tap their cards instead of swiping it, which is super convenient. However, they're $50, and you don't actually need this device to take Apple Pay anymore, because a couple of years ago, Square actually put it in their application for you to take tap as an option. So you can just go on the application. When you take the payment, you can like click on tap to pay. They have a little button and you can just click on tap to pay, and it lets you take Apple Pay, or people can like tap their card. It's a little finicky, so it's not like super incredibly convenient as the machine that they have for tap payment. It works. Like you can make it work, and people are going to be patient with you. Like they're going to wait for you to like make sure that it goes through. So if you have been thinking about getting this $50 card reader just for the tap option, just for you to take the Apple Pay, it's a lot of money. And on top of it, Square also takes like percentage off of your sales. So you're not only paying like $50 to get this reader, but on top of it, like you're paying these extra fees for them too. So I would not get it unless you want it to be a little bit more convenient for you. Like I enjoy using it, but it's a big investment on top of like all of the other stuff that you have to buy. So once you feel like you're making a lot of money from this and you feel like you're doing it a lot, I will get it. But if you just want the convenient, or you just want people to pay with Apple Pay, you don't need it. So I am going to link a video below on how to use this tap to pay option, so you can check it out and you can learn yourself how to do it. Another way to take payment is with cash. And then, of course, there's PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo, which all of them are great. And I would use all of them, because make sure that you have all sorts of payment methods for your customers. Also, another note on cash. So I know at the very beginning when I started selling, I started putting my cash in a cash box. Don't do that. Get a fanny pack and put your cash in there, and always wear it on your body so nobody can steal it, because a cash box can be very easily stolen because you can just look away and somebody can steal it, while a fanny pack is like on you at all times. What was popular and what was successful when I was selling at this market? So I was very happy that I ended up making those little devil prints and stickers, because they actually were pretty successful. The most popular thing, like overall theme wise, was possums, which honestly they are so popular every single time. I don't know what is up with those creatures, but people just love them. So make some possum art. I definitely will be making more like little rodent artworks. I want to make like raccoons and rats and stuff like that. I think it would be kind of cute to have like a whole like collection of them. For must-haves, don't forget to bring snacks and water with you. Definitely water, because a lot of these places don't actually like provide water. Like you have to go to a place to buy yourself a water bottle. So I would definitely bring multiple water bottles. Have a little cooler with you that has food in it. Maybe bring a little bit of fruit. If you can bring a helper with you, that is very important, because you will want to go to the bathroom, you will want to walk around. So it's nice to have somebody there who can like man the table for you, and you don't have to worry about like not taking a sale or just like worried about like your stuff being stolen. So I would highly recommend taking somebody with you. If you have a friend, if you have a partner, if you have your parents or your brother, sister who can like go with you, I would highly recommend. And also have a little like pencil pouch that has like necessities such as like tape, markers, like Sharpies. Bring scissors are very important. Make sure that you have scissors, safety pins if something tears for some reason. You can even bring yourself duct tape. If something happens to your tent, you can duct tape it. So just have a little like safety pack that you can use for your table and tent. And then the last couple of things I want to talk about is what will I do differently at my next event. So there's definitely a couple of things I want to do in terms of my display. I am thinking about getting 2 tables and making an L shape, because I have seen a lot of artists do that, and I think it's just a better way to keep the flow in your tent, because you can like people can walk into your tent and they can just walk around and have like a big space for them to be, and it's not just like one table and everybody's crowding in front of it. Like multiple people can be in that tent spot at the same time. So I definitely want to work on that. And I do think I'm going to need to get a couple of other things for that to work out, like a bigger displays for my prints. So I've been using the grids as a display for my prints as well as other things. And I think I want to get like a big wooden display for my next event that has all of my prints on it, including the small ones and the big ones. So I don't hang them up on the grids anymore, and maybe utilize the grids for something else, or maybe say goodbye to the grids. I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that part, but I definitely want to make the L shape, and I want to clean up my space a little bit so it's not super crowded. And then product wise, I would like to bring t-shirts for my next market. Same thing with tote bags. I definitely want to dive into apparel a little bit more now that I work somewhere that prints shirts, and I definitely want to take advantage of that and make my own design and t-shirts. So that's definitely something I want to do, and maybe make a little bit more stickers for next time and sticker sheets. I've been wanting to do sticker sheets, and I have not been successful at giving myself enough time to do that. Oh, another thing too, I want to make mugs. I do have a mug press from Cricut that I used 2 times. But I need to find like a way for me to get sublimation sheets like of my own art, instead of having to like cut it out with the Cricut machine and then put it on the mug press. Like the last time I was trying to do it, it was just a lot of work, and I kind of want somebody to print my design out, and I just have to put it on the mug and it's like ready to go. So that's also something I need to work on. So product wise, these are kind of like the newer things that I would like to work on. If you're thinking about starting to do art markets, I would just suggest like making sure that your art is ready to go into art markets. Make sure that you're building up your portfolio, make sure that you're building up your product line, and do a lot of research before starting this and make sure that you're ready for it, because it is a lot of work, and again, it's cost a lot of money to start up. So make sure that you are able to make the money back. Make sure that you think this is like worth for you to do. Make it fun, make it enjoyable, make a lot of friends. Make sure that you talk to your artist friends at art markets, and join the art community in your city. I think that's very important. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. And good luck on your next art market, or good luck on your first art market if you're just starting this out. And thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you to Vograce for supplying me with amazing products that I was able to bring to this market. And I will see you in the next video, which is actually going to be my sketchbook tour. Have a wonderful day and make lots of art.